Hello, good morning. Welcome to Parenting Unplugged 6.0. It's organized by Udo Foundation. My name is Nima Benson. I am an author and also a volunteer for Udo Foundation. Udo Foundation is a non-profit organization increasing access to education to less privileged children in Nigeria. For more information about Udo Foundation, of course, head over to info@judofoundation.com. And also do not skip to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, of course, just by clicking Udo Foundation. Okay, we are a non-profit organization. What we do here is to help people, help children, send them back to school, take them off the street, and also help women take care of their home by providing them businesses. That is what we're here for. And please support by following and clicking on this YouTube link for more programs like this. Today's topic is a very crucial one, and it plays a very important place in my heart because as an educator, it means a lot to me. And the topic says decoding the new 2025/2026 curriculum. What your child stands to gain, what was added, and what was cut off. Now, a lot of parents are not aware of what they are learning at home at all. They do not know. They've not been informed the necessity and why the curriculum have been changed. So today, joining us today is an education expert. And to expatiate more on this topic is an education expert and a classroom teacher and chemistry education graduate from the prestigious University of Lagos, Nigeria, Lagos State, Nigeria. And I know you're very happy to see her name is. Okay, let's take it this way. Let's welcome Alausa Basirat Olasukomi. Let's bring Alausa Basirat Olasukomi on stage. Now, wow, let me can like do this in the mess. Oh, Jesus. Welcome, Miss Alausa platform. Hope you can hear. Can you hear me, Miss Alausa Basirat Olasukomi? Can you hear me?
I can hear you very loud. Okay, I can hear you.
All
The
right.
network
Yeah.
is keeping it, but I can hear you.
Oh, okay. We apologize for that. I mean, this is Nigeria. What shall we do? So, welcome to Parenting Unplugged 6.0, organized by Udo Foundation. So, I'd like you to introduce yourself briefly to us.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Just like the host rightly said, my name is Alausa Basirat Olasukomi. I am a classroom teacher. I am employed by the Lagos State government. I graduated from Lagos State University and I studied chemistry education. So just like the host rightly said, I can call myself an education expert. Yes, thank you.
Of course, you are. Of course, you are. I mean, being graduated from the University of Lagos, I mean, that's a big thing because I know it's not easy being a Nigerian, also studying at the University of Lagos as a chemistry educationist. I mean, you are an expert in that field. So I'll start with asking you this very question. What is the biggest change, the real change that happened in the 2025 and 2026 curriculum that parents must not ignore? What's the big change? What has changed so far in the curriculum?
A whole lot of things has changed in the curriculum. For example, students that are doing, 15 to 20 are now doing like 8, 9 subjects. It is a very big change. And also, the addition of trade subjects, the addition of AI and robotics and the likes of it, it's a very big change, and I feel like parents should be like they should be up to date and aware about it.
Hmm. You mentioned AI, and it tweaked my ear because I mean that's a new future that AI has become part of us recently. Okay, before we move to that aspect of the curriculum, let me ask this question: if a parent misunderstands this new system, what is the biggest mistake they are likely to make? So, if parents are not understanding this new curriculum, what is the biggest mistake they are likely to make if parents don't understand it? Because I know a
The
lot of
question,
parents are not aware. Yeah.
the
Mm.
question you asked is, if the parents are do not understand the new
New
curriculum, what
curriculum.
mistakes that
Yes.
they are likely to make, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Right. If they don't understand the new curriculum, they are like most probably going to make a whole lot of mistakes. For
Mm.
example, if they are still set on the stone that their children are still doing, the old courses, 15 courses, and now the children are now doing 8 courses. So definitely they are bound to make so many mistakes. For example, they might not know where they are supposed to provide the necessary supports for their children. That's what I'm trying to say. The children definitely need their parents' support. I mean, their parents are supposed to be their number one supporter. So if the
Mm.
parents are not supporting them where they actually need the support, then there's a mistake somewhere.
Okay. So, from what you just said, does it mean that the children in your school, let me start from there, are getting the support they need from home currently, or there's something still missing that the parents are not doing for them to support the current curriculum?
Well, well, concerning this new curriculum, just like you said, we are in Nigeria now. You understand what I'm
Mm.
saying? It is very easy for us to sit down and make policy. Do you understand? But implementation is the very, very key of it.
Mm.
Implementation is the very, very key. We can just sit and talk, okay, let's do this, let's do that. But is anybody ready to implement that thing that we are sitting down to make? That's the number one
Exactly.
question. Implementation, it
Exactly.
is very key. The teachers that you are bringing this curriculum out to, are they equipped? Do
Okay.
they have the facility to carry out the content of this curriculum? That is the question. So I don't want to I don't want to criticize the government. I work for the government, so I don't want to criticize the government. But concerning parents in my own school, making mistakes or being aware of the curriculum, I can say it outrightly that parents in my school are yet to be aware of the new curriculum. Probably a very, very, very few percentage of them, but definitely not a majority of them.
Mm. I mean, that's a very, I think, let me use this word, that's bad. I mean, how would the parents provide the necessary support that the kids need to thrive in their education if the parents are not aware? How?
Exactly.
So what have been put in place to make parents to know about this curriculum? Because I know a lot of the parents, some of them might be illiterate. Okay, they might not be. Yes, but it doesn't matter if they are informed. No, yes. So what are the things that have been put in place to inform parents that this is the new curriculum that your child is currently taking in school? Have there been measures taken to do that?
Actually, the new curriculum, even we that we are classroom teachers, it is very few of us that are aware that the curriculum has changed. That was why I said implementation is very, very key. It is easy to make policy. Anybody can just sit down and make policy. Implementation is very, very important. So even we that we are classroom teachers, most, or I don't want to say most, but some percentage of us are yet to know that there's a new curriculum out there. We are no longer using the old curriculum, stuff like that. So if some teachers are not aware, you can already see that the probability that parents are going to be aware is next to zero. I don't want to say zero, but it's very, very next to zero.
So who is to be blamed
Except,
here?
except for parents that watches the news, and keep up with updates ahead. So just very few percentage of them are aware of the new curriculum.
With the way you are sounding about this, it's most likely that there is zero implementation, and the parents are only aware by watching the TV, which means that the kids are not actually using this curriculum? Because if they are, the parents will see it in their books, in what they do daily, their activities, the assignments given to them. So who are we to blame here? The government, or the teachers, the school, or the parents? Who are we to blame?
Okay, this is how it is. Just like I said implementation is very, very key. Now, if
Hmm.
some teachers are not, it like I said, it's very easy for people to sit down and make policy.
Policies,
Implementation,
yeah.
yeah, I will keep on saying implementation is key. The teachers that you want to carry, because the minister of education cannot come and carry out the curriculum himself. So he has to go through we the teachers, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
the teachers you want to carry out this curriculum, are they equipped? Do they have the facility? That is the question. Is there an
Hmm.
awareness about the new curriculum? Do we have the
Exactly.
facility to carry out the new curriculum? Do we have the skills? Have we been upskilled? Do we have the skills to carry out the new curriculum? So these are the questions that we can ask. If you are now trying to say, oh, who are we to blame? Who are we to blame? Everybody is to blame. To be very frank, everybody is to blame, from the government to the teachers to the parents. Yes, because if me as a teacher, I decide that, oh, I don't want to wait for the government. I want to take actions into my hand, change starts from you, right? So I want to take actions into my hand. Okay. I equip myself I learned about the new curriculum. I make sure that I got the necessary skill. I equip myself. And my colleagues at work, I call them, oh, Mr. So so so, Mrs. So so so, Miss so so so. This is the new curriculum. This is what I've learned about it. This is what I think we should do, or how we can achieve success with this new curriculum. So that is why I said everybody is to blame. We are talking about the future of the next generation. Yeah. So everybody is to blame. The government, the teachers, and even the parents. Everybody is to
Hmm.
blame. Yes.
Okay.
So
So,
we cannot just put the blame on the government. If we are trying to put the blame on the government, that means we teachers we are trying to be irresponsible. We are not taking responsibility. But if I want to take responsibility, then I will say everybody is to blame. Government, teachers, and even the parents.
I mean, this is beautiful. I've been seeing a Nigerian taking full accountability of someone else's future. This is beautiful. So now I'm wondering how much the government are paying teachers for them to be able to afford to get themselves trained on this new curriculum, especially now that we are driving towards the digital world, and there is a big digital divide. Yes, where a lot of teachers do not have the necessary, like, for example, internet, good phones, good gadgets to help them implement this curriculum. I'm thinking, how, if you are able to do that, how about those that are getting little pay? How will they? That's why I think somehow we need to tell the government this is where you should come inside. So I was going to say you should send a message to the Minister of Education. So I mean, there are things that the government can put in place to help. If there are policies also, not just for the children, I mean, there are policies to help the teachers achieve this curriculum perfectly. I mean, don't you think it would be helpful if we can send a message to the Minister of Education? This is where we are lacking, and we need your assistance.
Of course, it's going to be very, very helpful, because if we are talking about funding, we know how it is now. Teachers are like the most underpaid, the underrated profession in
Definitely,
this country. I don't want to use the
Nigeria.
whole wide world. Yes, in this country,
In
yes.
Nigeria, not in the whole wide world. In Nigeria, I'm telling you.
In Nigeria, yes. So teachers are very, very underrated. Do you understand? So if me
Mm.
as a teacher, I'm saying, oh, I don't want to do this because they are not paying me to do that, then
Mm.
definitely, what are we putting out there? I mean,
Exactly.
the next generation, what do we want them to have? Are they even going to meet up with the world standard? Because if I am
Exactly.
very honest, if we are going to be honest with ourselves, Nigeria is way back, 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 back. Like we are still at the back. So our next generation, we want them to meet up with the world standard, that if you leave Nigeria and you are going to the US or the United Kingdom, you should be able to be on par with students there. That is what we are trying to achieve. Well, that is what
Exactly.
I think the government should try to achieve. I mean, but
Exactly.
if you
That
are
brings
talking
me
about
to the.
funding, if you are
Mm.
talking about funding, if we are talking about teachers' salary, I mean, salary is not even enough to feed the teacher and he or his or her family. So definitely, if you see any teacher that is working towards making a better generation, producing a better generation, they are doing it out of passion. It is not because they are getting anything from it, because there is absolutely nothing from it. So if you see any teacher that is
Excellent.
going through extra mile, going through extra efforts, it is passion, purely passion. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Now this.
So just like you said, if we can write to the Minister of Education, it's going to be very beautiful, to equip teachers with the skills, the facility. They should produce the facilities. We are talking about the next generation here. So yes, if we can write to them, it's going to be so nice and so good. Yes, I'm in
Well, you don't
support
have to
of
wait to write to them. You can tell
that.
them here, and of course, we are going to tag them on this video, and they'll get to see it. But before we do that, let's move to the next question, where let's enlighten the parents that will likely be seeing this webinar. Let's enlighten. Please, could you turn down this? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Please put off your mute yourself. So after talking,
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, let's enlighten the parents who are not aware of the new curriculum. Let's tell them the curriculum, the subjects that get removed, and the ones. Let's be very specific so they can also learn from here what subjects we are taking out, especially for. Let's start with the junior and the secondary very quickly, and then we tell them what was added and what was removed, so they get to be informed about it as well. So please go ahead.
Okay, so if we are talking about what was added and what was cut, for example, if we look at from primary one to, we have the primary section, the junior secondary section, and the senior secondary section. Now, the primary section is now subdivided into two. That's from primary one to primary three, and primary four to primary six. So let's pick it from primary one to primary three. From primary one to primary three, what was cut? They removed, you know, they removed social and citizenship education. They have now coined it together into one subject. For example, we used to have social studies, we used to have history, we used to have civic education. Now they have now coined it into one subject. That is the social and the citizenship studies. That is one. Then also Arabic is now optional. Arabic is no longer compulsory. They have also added Nigerian language, that's the Hausa, the Igbo, and the Yoruba. So a student can only pick one language, one speaking language. Then for the junior secondary school, I think their own is a bit, how should I put it? Their own is a bit, more compressed compared to what they are doing before. For junior secondary schools now, they were doing 15 to 18 subjects before, but now they are now doing like 12 to 14 subjects. So they have cut their own, like very, very cut it. So they are still doing their English, they are still doing their mathematics, they are still doing just like the primary one Nigerian language. Either you are doing Yoruba or you are doing English, or you are doing Igbo or you are doing Hausa. Then they now have their intermediate science. Now, this intermediate science comprises of two subjects. That's the basic science and the basic technology. Then they have their physical health education. They have their CRS and their IRS. Either you are a Christian or you are a Muslim, you are going to pick one. Then they have their CCA, that's their cultural and creative arts, where they learn about fine arts, music, and the likes of it. Then we now have their digital technologies. Yes, instead of them doing, in our days we used to do computer science, or they call it ICT, but now they now call it digital technologies. Now for the junior secondary school, they are now going to be picking one trade subject, We have several trade subjects. For example, we have the solar installation and maintenance. We have fashion designing and garment making. We have livestock farming. We have beauty and cosmetology. We have computer hardware and GSM repairs. And we also have horticulture and crop production. So 6 trade subjects have been added, and a child has to pick one trade subject. Yes, that's the criteria. A child has to pick one trade subject. So French is now optional, and Arabic is also optional for the junior secondary school.
Somehow, I'm very, very impressed.
Mhm. Mhm.
Please, could you turn down your volume first? Sorry. I'm really impressed when you mentioned the Nigerian languages. I mean, they used to say no vernacular in school, but now, I mean, our languages are no longer vernacular; they are part of us, and I like that we are bringing it and making all the foreign languages very optional. That's quite beautiful. I think I like the new curriculum myself and the digital that thing that they're bringing and the trade very, very important. I'm thinking, how will this new curriculum shape your child? No, compared to the old curriculum, do you think it's better for the upbringing of a child now for their education? Is it better than the old one? You are muted.
Sorry. Definitely, the new curriculum is better than the old curriculum. I mean, they are going from 18 subjects to like 12, 14 subjects. So definitely it's good. And the introduction of digital technology and trade subjects, it is very, very nice. Students now have capacity to learn about AI and the likes of it. Then trade subjects. I feel like the new curriculum is set to bring up standard individuals, in the sense that you can be going to school and still have your handwork, not like during our own days when you have to come back from school 3:30, and then if you are learning hairdresser or you are learning fashion designing, you will still have to go there. But now they have bring it down to the classroom. So as you are learning your book, you are also learning that in one environment, not like before. So yes, I think the new curriculum is far more better than the old curriculum.
All right, that's very good to hear. And at what age should a parent, start paying serious attention to their child's skills direction, especially now that the curriculum have some skills and trade and all of that? What age should parents start paying attention to their children?
Definitely, parents should pay attention from the very onset. I mean, we are talking about your child here. So, is there no reason for you not to pay attention? So, I feel like the parents should pay attention to the curriculum and even their child from the very onset. You start bringing them up. They are seeing your support. They are seeing you, that you are always with them. So, definitely, it's children should the parents should start supporting from onset, from the very beginning.
That's Okay, that's beautiful. I mean, parents, you should start paying attention from the onset. I remember my time as growing up as a child, and I wanted to be, an author. I wanted to be a news broadcaster. I wanted to be an English lecturer. My dad was like, no, 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 no. My parents were like not supportive of me. I ended up studying what I never wanted to, but now I end up being the same thing they never supported me to be. So I'm imagining if they had supported me right from time, I mean, it would have been different. So parents, let's support our children, push them to do better. I mean, there's a comment that says that
Hello, sorry for the breakup in transmission. We are here to, of course, continue. Miss Alausa, are you there with us? I hope you can hear me loud and clear. Can you hear me? Okay, please, you can unmute yourself so I can hear you because I can't hear you.
I can hear you.
All right, thank you. Apologies for the All right, there's a comment here that says from Gift Joshua. She says, "This is so sad. We have good brains in Nigeria, but no resources to develop them." Very true. No, there's a current news going around that in the UK that Nigerians are, is it US or UK? Either of them. Nigerians are the best students so far. They just came up with the research. Nigerians are the best school students and they're doing so well in the UK. You know, when a system is working, like she said, Nigerians are, we have brains. When a system is working, we get to know to see the potentials of the people there. So UK and US, that the system is working and Nigerians are doing excellently well. We are hoping that there's a new curriculum would be implemented properly so we can have, of course, the best students here in Nigeria as well. Okay, I'll move to this question right now. See, now the parents are aware of the curriculum of things that were added and removed. Let's also tell them the practical thing that they can do this week or from now so they can align with the child new curriculum. One of the things, let's just make it three, no, that parents can do. What can they do to support their kids at home so they can align with this new curriculum?
Okay, basically, the new curriculum is aimed at, supporting life skills, building real life experience, real life skills, and, the students should be digitally ready.
Mm,
So, what can parents do to support their children? First of all, parents should support them with the necessary things that they need. For example, facilities. A student that is going into the digital skills, the parents should be able to support him with a laptop, or if he needs a phone
mm,
or an iPad. Then, if he needs a data when necessary, the parents should be able to support him. So I think those are like the menial little support that parents can give to their children, and to check in on them when necessary. When the parents feel like, oh, this my child is having a mental burden or a physical burden or something like that, they should always be there for their children, mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially. So
mm. Well, now this is your question. Your answer brings me to this question. For low-income families, I mean, we're talking about supporting them with digital gadgets, data. We know how expensive these things are in Nigeria, even for we adults. So, I mean, for a working family, for a low-income families, I mean, what are the realistic ways to support them learning this expensive trade? Because to me, AI is an expensive trade. Gadget is expensive. Data is expensive. Most of them do not even have access to NEPA light. So when we're talking about they should provide them with this, provide them with that. What about the low income families? I mean, what about them?
low income families, like, I can actually relate to it very, very well. Like, if we are talking about low income families, how can they support their children? I mean,
Mhm,
if they cannot be
mhm,
there financially, they should be able to be there emotionally and physically. Okay, for example, in my school, there's a teacher that he doesn't write on the board for the students because we are in the digital age. He's not wrong. He has a WhatsApp group for all the parents of his students. So whenever he sends notes to them on that WhatsApp group, and the students are to write out the notes into their notebook. Now we have now seen several cases of
I don't know if
students
it's from my network
that parents
or a
don't have
network.
it.
Can anybody hear me? Okay, please go ahead.
I can hear you.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, so now we have now seen several cases of students that their parents don't have an Android phone, to say the least. They don't have an Android phone. Now, how do they go about writing this note? Their parents will follow them down to the school and explain their situation that, oh, Mr. Lagbaja, Miss Lagbaja, this is what is going on in our house. My child, I don't have a browsing phone that my child can use to write out the notes. So what now? We the teachers will now, okay, your child don't have the notes. We'll now look for a student that has written the note or that has the means. We are now going to do what? Pair them together so that that child that is from low income family can also be carried along in the studies.
Hmm.
So that is why I said, even if the parents cannot be there financially, physically and emotionally, they can still support their child.
Hmm. Okay. So this is me directing this talk, this speech right down to the Minister of Education, Nigeria. This is me directing it to you. Sir, Ma, let's talk about digital divide. Because with what Miss Lausa just said now, that is a big digital divide. I mean, there are places talking about supporting them emotionally is not enough to enhance their digital skill, the AI skills they need. I mean, I'm an educator and I do a lot of AIs. I know how expensive it is to do AI. So let's talk about the digital divide, Miss Sarma, Minister. I mean, there are places where these children, where people do not have access to internet. Let's forget about the gadgets and all that. There are places where people do not have access to um, electricity. I mean, I've been there before. I have traveled to somewhere to my village, and I was unable to connect to the digital world to do some things to get things done. That was a big. I felt depressed. So imagine those children in the villages with the skills they have, the skill set they have, but they are limited because they do not have access to internet and all that. So, Mr. Minister of Education, please do something about this. Every Nigerian child deserves the right to a proper education, to the new curriculum, to be well trained and equipped for the future. The future of Nigeria belongs to the children now that are well equipped. I mean, if we are bringing so many policies and curriculum that should support the children, we should make it easy for them to be able to assess this. So thank you. I hope this gets to the Minister of Education because this is me sending this message to you. Thank you very much. All right, back to you, Ms. Alausa. You've already talked about this before. This is me bringing back this reality check. We've talked about this, how if schools are able to actually implement this, deliver this new curriculum. You've talked about the limitations of teachers who are not well equipped. What can the government do to help these teachers? I mean, there are teachers like yourself who are very intentional. I saw how you took accountability of even the things that you could not control. So, what can government do to show support to teachers like yourself who are very intentional about teaching the student better?
Okay, to better implement the teachers, to better implement the curriculum, rather, just like I said earlier, that the Minister of Education, Dr. Tuji Alausa, he cannot come down to classroom and come and implement the curriculum himself. So he has to go through the curriculum, has to go through the teachers. Now, if the curriculum is going through the teachers must know what they are doing, must know the in and out of the curriculum to be able to better carry out the curriculum. Now,
Exactly.
how can the government support the teachers? For example, the government can decide, to organize workshops, to organize webinars, seminars for teachers, to upskill them, train them about the new curriculum. Now, if you're now looking at training all of the teachers in Nigeria, I mean, it's going to cost a lot, definitely. But we are talking about the future generation here. We are trying to meet the world standard. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So I think that's the best thing that the government can do, through workshops, webinars, seminars, and the likes of it. That is like the literally the best way that the government can get across to all classroom teachers, both public and private. That's literally the best way.
Okay. Viewers, please keep subscribing to this YouTube channel because we need this conversation to get to the Minister of Education. Like Ms. Alausa has said, that teachers need to be equipped, upskilled to meet the standard of the current curriculum. They cannot do this. I mean, you cannot give what you don't have. I mean, the teachers are, if they're not equipped to teach this, how then would they give what they don't know to the children? So please comment and like and share this so so the Minister of Education can get to see this. All right, Mr. Lausa, where exactly does the responsibility shift Okay, I'm bringing this question back because we need to establish a fact. What does this shift? With all that you have said, with all that the problems you've seen that is surrounding the curriculum in public schools and private schools, where does it shift? Is it from the government? What does it shift to the school, the parent, or the government? Who can really initiate this? Who can really push this so it can happen? Who should push this better? Is it the government, the teacher, the school, or the parent? Who?
The best person or the best channel to go through is definitely the government. The government is like the highest on the hierarchy, the highest on the food chain. So definitely the best person to go through is the government. Now, if the government now brings out the policy and the implementation occurs, but different sections of bodies are being sent out, to supervise teachers to make sure that they are actually implementing the new curriculum. Definitely there will be a change. So the right channel to go through is still definitely the government. Because if we say we want to go through the teachers, I mean, how many teachers do we want to go through? What can the teachers even do? Okay, they are going to go out and protest and strike. Is that really going to solve the problem? It's definitely not going to solve. It's going to like draw us back, in fact. So the best people to go through is definitely the government. We cannot go through the parents. I mean, just like you said, the society is divided into hierarchy. We have the high class, the low income family. So definitely the best set of people to go through is the governments.
Exactly. I was going to even like the classism in Nigeria is just top notch. There are the elites, we have the in fact now I think we have the middle, the lowest class. Those are on the streets who do not have houses. I mean, there are still our kids, Nigerian kids, who are not opportune to the kind of education that suits them as a Nigerian. Now this brings me to this question. Are we at the risk of widening inequality between private schools and public schools students with this new curriculum, with this new model? Are we at the risk? Okay, there'll be a big difference between the private school and the public schools because it's always there in Nigeria. It's only in Nigeria that a private school is doing better than a government school. Whereas the government have all the money and the public school and the private schools just have little money, but they can manage. So are we at the risk of noticing the big difference, a very big difference between the public school and the private school with this new model of curriculum?
So the question was like, what is the curriculum going to bring about any difference between the public schools and the private school students?
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, definitely, just like it has always been, just like how you said, if the private school is standard, we have private school and we have private school now. This is Nigeria. So if the private school is actually very, very standard and it's up to par, definitely they are going to have an edge over the public school students. With this new curriculum, the principal is standing on implementing the new curriculum. Definitely they have an edge over the public school students. Even before now, Seth, let's be honest. Before now, private school as the standard private school, I'm talking about standard private school. The standard private school have always have an edge over the public school students. So, I mean, that's how it has always been.
Oh, it's very sad. It's quite sad. I mean, just because it is familiar, just because it's been happening over time, doesn't mean it is normal. I mean, it is not normal for a private school to be better than a public school that is owned by the government. I mean, in other countries that I'm aware of, government schools are doing better. Why? Because the government is ensuring that the kids have everything needed for the future. The children are being trained that the future generations of that country. So it is not okay. It is not okay for a familiar occurrence, which is bad, to keep happening, and we are very okay with it. Being that this is Nigeria doesn't mean that Nigeria cannot be better. I mean, Vietnam was not better than Nigeria years back, but today they are, and it's not. It doesn't tell very good on our system. We are not moving forward. We are stagnant. We are staying at a place while the world is moving, far away. So it is not. very okay because it's familiar. So well, we are coming to the close of this webinar. But before that, let's continue with some few questions with Miss Alausa. Viewers, as usual, please like this video, comment, and also share. For this message has to get to the Minister of Education as soon as possible. Our kids needs better education. All right, from in the next 5 to 10 years, Miss Alausa, what kind of children will this curriculum produce if implemented correctly? What children will it implement? What is the future of the Nigerian children that we're looking at if this curriculum is being implemented correctly in the next 5 to 10 years?
Okay, in the next 5 to 10 years, that's if this new curriculum is being implemented, we are going to have like bright future. We are going to have, youths, or let's say students, that has real life skills, that has already been taught real life. If we are going to be very factual, look at our own generation. Some of us even went through university without having real life skills. It is when after we finished with university that we now saw that life in school is actually different from life of outside school. But these students with this new curriculum, if it is implemented, we are going to have the next generation are going to be well equipped with real life skills. Real life skills, like, since they're already doing trade subjects, AI is there for them. Anything like, they are definitely going to be very well equipped with real life skills. Then they'll be digital ready. Unlike us now, some of us, we finished universities before we started taking courses on, basic computer literacy that we were supposed to have been taught since our secondary school, but this is Nigeria, we were not taught. So in the next 5 10 years, definitely we are going to have youths or students that are digitally ready. Then we're also going to have students that will be able to compete with other students globally. That is what we are going to have in the next 5 to 10 years. Then, they'll be able to even know their career direction earlier. Just like you said you wanted to be an author, but you wanted to be an English educator, but your parents said, no, and you still came back to do the same thing. Now, if this new curriculum is being implemented, where the parents are supporting their children, the teachers are supporting, and even the governments are supporting. Imagine the kind of future that we are going to have. They are going to know where they are going to early. They are going to be able to detect their career very early in their life. Like, okay, this is where this person is going to, and we are going to channel all our energy and resources into building that particular child's future. So if this new curriculum is implemented, those are the things that we are going to have in the next 5 to 10 years.
Beautiful. And you will keep saying this is Nigeria, and I'm going to keep refusing to accept that this is Nigeria. Nigeria can be better, and we can know Nigeria. This is Nigeria for being better. I mean, if someone can say this is the UK, and we are talking about good infrastructure, education that is ready for the kids. No, we can also say this is Nigeria, and is pointing towards a good light. So, I mean, we should not accept the negativity that is attached to Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian. I'm a very happy being a Nigerian. So I don't want to be attached to the negativity, the stereotypes, negativity. I want to be attached to something very positive. So Nigeria can have a very good education.
It's not about being attached to negativity. It's about being factual. If you want me to come here and, try to rub things off or stuffs like that, I can easily do it. But if I'm going to be very factual, why I keep saying this is Nigeria, imagine you are teaching a student, you are teaching your students titration in chemistry, you are teaching them titration, and you are teaching them titration on the board. Titration that is supposed to be practicalized, they are supposed to see it, how the color of the particular chemical is changing, and you are teaching them on the board. Why? Because we don't have the facility, we don't have the equipments. So that is why I keep saying, oh, this is Nigeria, I know with the effort of you and I and everybody, Nigeria can be a better place, 100%. I agree with you, but I'm just trying to be factual. I'm trying to face the reality head on.
Well, you're very correct. Okay, if every parent watching this session right now, if they could take one action today after this webinar, what should that be? A parent that is very, very, interested in their children's future, if they could take one action, what should that action be?
I'm supposed to answer that.
Action do you think
Okay.
a parent should take after this
If a
webinar?
parent take action, well, like I said, the change starts from one person. The best thing the parents can do is that the parents should research about the new curriculum. Go to the school of his or her child, ask questions. That is why the teachers are there. They are there to answer your questions. They are there to attend to your concerns concerning your child. Go to their school, ask questions. Oh, I heard that there is a new curriculum, blah, blah, blah. Is it already being implemented in my child's school? If the answer is yes, you know that okay, you've gotten a green light. Then the next action for you is to do what? Go and be supporting your child. But if the answer is no, definitely there is little to anything that you can do, especially if it is a public school. But the best thing that parents can do in that situation, if the response is no, is that the parents should study the curriculum. If there is any way he or she can support their child on their own now, because the child is their future, on their own, by getting private tutors, getting a private digital technology teacher to teach their child. That is what I think the best action that any parent listening to this should take.
All right. Okay, now this is more like an advice to the parents, from you to them now. What mindset shift? What should they like? Mindset shift must parents adopt immediately, to not fall behind the system? Like, what's a mindset shift? They have to renew their mind. So, what should they renew their mind? Help the children so they will not fall behind the system.
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
Okay. Can you mute for I repeat the question? Was it coin? All right, the question is what mindset shift? How can parents renew their mind for them to be able to adopt this new curriculum immediately without falling behind? A lot of parents are behind. Yeah. Some of them are saying my child will not learn AI. AI is evil. AI is this. It will bring about this. Most religious parents. Some of them are saying, I want like my parent, like my dad did. No, if you're going to be a teacher, you'll be if you're going to be an English whatever, you're going to end up being a lecturer. Any small money. I mean, if he had seen the future that I can do way beyond just being a teacher, and he would have allowed me. So, what mindset shift do we need for our current parents so they cannot fall behind the new system?
Okay, first of all, the first mindset shift is that parents should understand their child's strengths. That's the first thing. Know what your child is strong at or what your child is good at. So if you're able to understand your child's strengths, I think you've had it figured out. And then the next thing they should do is that parents should focus less on grades of their children and they should focus more on their skills. Because if you look at it, a child can be an A student, just the child can just read and pass. But that thing that child is reading, can he implement it? Can he or she carry it out? So parents should understand the strength of their child and then they should focus more on their skills and focus less on their grade.
I cannot agree more with you, Mr. Lausa. I mean, that's very correct. I remember my dad then telling me, that person that carried first, does he have two heads? I mean, in math, I was never good at math ever since, growing up. He wanted me to be to study physics or something like that. And I hated anything that has to do with calculation. So imagine my dad forcing me to study physics, whereas I was good at talking, writing, anything asked. CC, I was very good. So, and my dad was pushing me to do something that every other person is doing without focusing on my skills. I cannot agree more with you on that, Mr. Lausa. Okay, there's a question I think here by Gift. from YouTube. Thank you very much, Kate, for this comment and also for watching. Do government schools conduct PTA meetings? This could be an avenue for to also train the parents. Do they conduct it? PTA meetings.
Of course, definitely. Government schools conduct PTA meetings. Yes.
Mr. Lassa, the question is for you. Do government school conduct PTA meetings?
Yes. Government school conducts PTA meetings. Yes, we do.
Mr. Lassa, are you there?
Oh, I just responded. Yes, I'm here.
Are you there? The question is for you.
Yes, I answered. I said yes. Government schools conduct
I
PTA
think
meetings.
our network is a little bit off, so we have to continue while we wait for her to come back. All right, so I mean, this could be a very good avenue for the parents to learn more about their children, curriculum, their strength from their teachers. I mean, the teachers spend a lot of time with these kids every day. So if a parent can have one-on-one conversation with the teachers, they'll get to know the strength of their children. Mr. Lassa, are you there? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. The question was, do government schools conduct PTA meetings for children?
All right, viewers, thank you very, very much for staying with us. And we have come to the end of the show, of the webinar of Parenting Unplugged 6.0. It was amazing having Miss Alausa Basirat Olasukomi on Parenting Unplugged. And okay, I think we have a question from Gift before. Also, can principals also conduct trainings for the teachers since they are closer to them and they know the gap that needs to be closed? Mr. Lausa, do you want to answer this question, or should I just answer? Because I know you've really talked about this before, that the schools are being limited somehow and the government are not coming in. So I mean, I hear that in government schools that some teachers doesn't come into school; they just clock in and out, and they don't even teach. Is that right, Mr. Lausa?
Oh, well,
I think the network is bad. So
I can hear you clearly.
So Lausa, are you there? All right. So I think there should be an implementation to guide the teachers. Did you hear me, Mr. Lausa?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. So I think the Mr. Lisa, can you hear me now? Can you see the question on the screen?
Yes, I can hear you. I can see the question on the screen. The question says, also, can principal also conduct trainings for the teachers since they are closer to them and they
Okay,
know
go
the
ahead with
gaps
the
that
question
need
you
to
can
be
see on the screen.
filled?
So can principals also organize trainings for the teachers since they are closer to them and they know the gap that needs to be closed? Can principals?
Yes, if the school is a private school, if the school is a private school, yes, the principal can do that. But if the school is a public school, in public school we have hierarchies. You know, the chain is going from the Ministry of Education to she's not here.
All right, it was nice having you here, viewers. Thank you for your time, and I hope you've learned one or two things out of this webinar. That your children need you as a parent to go through their education. The government has to come in, and also the school has to do better, especially in public schools where I hear that where a lot of people just clock in, come in, and then go and they don't teach. Please, let's do better for our Nigerian kids. Thank you very much, Mr. Laus. It was nice to have you here. And also, viewers, click on this video, like it, and share and comment. Let the Minister of Education get to see this. It was nice having you, and have a very wonderful afternoon. Bye-bye. Thank you.